Hello and happy Tuesday from this Tuesday baby at Radically Rational and radicallyrational.com. Okay, the infantization of America, the juvenilization of America is now complete and pervasive. Because here's what infants and juveniles do. They grant themselves the license to believe anything they want to just because it's immediately gratifying. And the flip side is they grant themselves the license to reject anything they don't like, regardless of how obviously factual it is. And that's okay. Why is it okay? Because they are infants and juveniles. And childhood is about a fantasy land, and that's not a bad thing altogether. That has enormous societal and cultural benefits, both for children and for their parents. We love our children. We want to protect our children. We want to insulate and in some cases isolate our children. We'll do anything for them because we love to see them smile. And we will do almost anything to spark that smile. And that's not only okay, that's a good thing. That's the relationship between parents, adults, and children, AKA children. That's all right. But at some point, what's the biblical passage? When I became a man, I put away childish things. And obviously that goes for women too. Here's what rational adults do. They usher their children from childhood to adulthood. That's their proper role. And it's all about timing. It's all about timing. We make a lot of sacrifices to do that. And the first thing we do, and the first thing we sacrifice is the truth. And we do it about all kinds of things. And again, in some cases, when they're little, that's okay. As a matter of fact, that's our proper role to protect them. But the transition into adulthood can reasonably be defined as a willingness to cross the threshold from fantasy land into a world that is dominated by established, observable facts, regardless of how unpleasant we may find them at a given moment. So here's what's happened, clearly. American adults have refused to be adults, and that means that their children are not going to be adults either. We are mired in a state of extended childhood. So here's where we are. You have people that can watch dozens of, if not hundreds of hours of what can only be described as an armed, violent insurrection, a premeditated insurrection at our Capitol, whose goal was to overturn the results of an election. No, that's not what happened. You didn't see what you saw. You just thought you saw what you saw. You don't like the results of that election? You just didn't like it? Well, then by all means, feel free to just try to overturn it groundlessly. You don't like representative democracy, despite the fact that you lie about that? Well, then by all means, just have at it. Just continue your attempt to overthrow the government of the United States. You can observe, we all can, an ever-growing percentage of the Earth's surface becoming uninhabitable, and the reasons are clear and undeniable beyond any reasonable doubt, actually beyond any doubt whatsoever. No, this is just a silly stage we're going through. And then there's this one. This is the very best. Guns don't kill people. As we record this on February 14th, and sadly have just witnessed the 67th mass shooting in the United States in 2023, this one in East Lansing, Michigan. like children, we have pulled our collective blankie over our little tiny heads. So I began this by saying that this infantization is now pervasive. You want an example? Okay, we've been talking about big things here previously in this video. This one's not as significant, but it's just as representative. 2 weeks ago, in the AFC Championship game, we saw the Bengals' Joseph Ossai light up Patrick Mahomes 7 feet out of bounds. Now, how do we know that? Because we can measure things. Because we have videotape, because we have still pictures. Lit him up 7 feet out of bounds. And there are people that deny it and say that Mahomes was taking a flop, or anyway, it was an important moment in the game, so you shouldn't have called it. Think that was an aberration? Flash forward 2 weeks to Sunday, 2 days ago. 113 million Americans watching, third highest rated Super Bowl telecast in the 57-year history of the event. You clearly see defensive back James Bradbury grab Kansas City receiver Juju Smith-Schuster and prevent him from running his route. It is textbook defensive holding. It's confirmed not only by video. My goodness, Bradbury admitted it to his credit. Look, I was beat. I had to do something. I grabbed him. I pulled his jersey. I tried to knock him off his route, and I was just hoping and praying it didn't get called. There's no doubt about this, but we have half of those 113 million viewers either saying it didn't happen, it wasn't defensive holding, anyway, it didn't impact the play. I could actually go on at length about how it did impact the play, but that's not the point of this particular video. Or, yeah, it happened and impacted the play, but it was inconvenient because I wanted to see overtime, and we ought to just let them play. What are we supposed to do? Go baseball and have some kind of unwritten rule that if a Super Bowl is tied in the last 2 minutes, that we just suspend all rules and it becomes a free-for-all? That would be a child's solution. That would be what children do. But here it is, because we're all infants now. You didn't see what you just saw, despite the fact that you clearly just saw it. I use the word pervasive childhood. This is why we do Radically Rational, and it's why we will persist. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a good Tuesday.